Hello, welcome back. Is it hot enough for you out there? Summertime is raging. Man, we got some summertime going. It's like a pyroclastic flow out there, you know? It's one of those things that just sticks with you. The heat does. Summer is an amazing time, and there are a lot of memories that go with summer as well. And why not let Retro Recon, the working title of this podcast, tell you a little bit about the summer and the memories that come along with it. Well, it's pretty hot in the great state of Alabama. Lately, it's been not just hot; it's been, just volcanic. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the heat, even the summer breeze, is not really cooling us off, right? Because it's like I mentioned, a pyroclastic flow, like it came out of a volcano. Very hot, very uncomfortable, but still, there's something about the summer that just there's so many memories that revolve around this time of year, what it means to people. It's just you smile when you think about the summer. I know I do. The summer is a special time. School's out. Alice Cooper's not wrong, right? School's out for summer. Good stuff there. It would always, growing up, I remember the greatest time of the year, summer, because there's no school. I remember very well, actually, which is a little side story, but when in I think it was 1985, uh, Prince came out with a song called Raspberry Beret. And this song, they played it every hour on the hour for 48 hours. So I watched it, I know, at least 40 times on MTV when MTV used to play music. I haven't watched MTV in a very long time, but back in the day, it was like a radio station you could see, and they played music. So I did watch, and that was the summer of 85. Correct me if I'm wrong, maybe 85, 86, somewhere in there, whenever that song came out. But summer is full of memories. Everyone has a great summer memory. So let's put on our sun britches for a guy. The sun britches were the best swimsuit you could ever have. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt. I don't know why they don't make these anymore, but the sun britches were top notch swimsuits. They were great. They had a button. It was the whole. It was so cool. Put on your sun britches and your Panama Jack shirt. Y'all remember those? And get ready for some great summer nostalgia here today. That's all we're going to do. Talk a little summer nostalgia, get into some things that, you may remember, maybe. I know I do, because summer was a great time of year. Now, most people have a place they like to go during the summer, especially if you're out of school, right? If you're a young person, you're trying to find somewhere to go. Well, I was fortunate, and people who grew up in the town I grew up in, we had a public pool that was absolutely, an amazing place to go. It was like a hub of activity every single day. And we got to go every single day because there were pool passes. Now, these things were made up kind of like a little driver's license. They were laminated. They had your picture on it. And, your picture was normally, it's a great memory to think about getting these made, because you would go, they had a machine, and they would take your picture, and then they would laminate it, and you would get the pass right there on the spot. And then you had this thing. I forget what they were, what you paid for them. I don't think they were much, but it was the whole summer, the season pass. You got to go to the pool every single day, and we did. We totally did. I still remember very well going in the. It was the Fultondale Pool where it was public pool. This place is full of memories. It's been around forever. It's not there anymore. Now it's I guess a Target. I guess is be close to where that is, or maybe Penny's is where that is now. But anyway, it used to be right in that general shopping center area. As the time and progress, things happen. You lose some of these great memories, but it was a great place to go. I remember walking through, because you had two sides. You had The boys men's side and the girls women's side, where you'd walk in, you could leave your stuff or take showers and different things like that. Now the coolest thing was to get in the cold shower that they had in there. You swimsuit on and everything, and then run and jump in the water, because the cold and the cold would make it warm when you. It was a weird thing. It was kind of cool. I used to love that pool. Used to go every single day. In fact, I used to ride my bicycle down to the pool, and I'll never forget. There was one. This was a sad summer story. I had a thing for this beautiful, long dark hair. Adonis. Not Adonis. Venus. Of a young lady, and she was at the pool, and I wrote her a love note. This long love note. It was an amazing thing. I put this thing together, and I expressed my love for this young lady in green ink on loose leaf, like a piece of paper, right? They took out of a binder or something, and wrote this, prose that was just amazing. I put it together and put it in my sock. So I put it in my sock, and I was going to ride down to the pool, because I know she'd be at the pool, because she's at the pool every day. So I'd go down to the pool, and I was going to give her this note, right? And tell her, how much, she meant to me. And from afar, I was totally head over heels in love, I thought, at, 12 or 11, however old I was. And so I wrote this thing out, green ink. It was a green felt tip pen, wrote it out, put it in my sock, drove down to the pool, and was going to ride over there and give it to her. So as I got down to the pool, I was getting ready to take this note out of my sock, because that's a good place. If you didn't have pockets, you could always keep stuff in your sock. And so anyway, I took it out, and it had, of course, this green felt tip pen, and it was hot, Alabama summertime, and my leg under my sock. We had these tube socks back then that had the colors at the top, those things. And it melted, I guess, or the ink leaked onto my skin, a green blob of ink on my leg. And that was the remnants of the beautiful words that I had written for this young lady. She never got the note. So that, there you go. That was a heartbreaking story. Anyway, so the pool was great. I used to later on. Actually, I worked for the city of Fultondale in the summer. Um, the cool kids were lifeguards. They made more money, because I made minimum wage, $3 an hour back then. It was $3.35. I think $3.35 is what I started off. Minimum wage, cutting grass for a living in the summertime. Maintenance, they called it. I got to clean toilets and things like that, so it was a lot of fun. Anyway, so I wasn't a cool kid like the lifeguards, but what I would do, because I worked for my father, my daddy, Frank Perry Senior, and he was my boss, so I would hide from him in the pool, and he was. I remember actually being in the pool, hiding from him, and seeing him walk by looking for me, because I thought my name was Damn It Boy pretty much my whole life, and I hear him, damn it boy, where'd that boy go? And then I was hiding in the pool, is where I was, because I didn't want to do something, or I was trying to waste as much time as humanly possible, right? So anyway, that's that happened. That sort of thing happened frequently. And one other time, I will share a story. I was working at the park in the summer, and we used to have to cut Kingfield, which was a very large field, and we had a tractor that we used to cut it. It was a baseball field, and so the tractor had broke down, and they were fixing it. They were my daddy, Elmo Matthews, Joel Matthews, some of those names that some local folks may remember, were standing around looking at this tractor, right? and they were going to, work on it, fix it, whatever. So they decided to send the boy, damn it boy here, down to the shed to get a tool. My daddy said, "Hey, go down and get such and such, this and that, and bring it back." And, there was a couple things I could do with my daddy. Sometimes that he would ask me to go get things or do things, and I had no clue what he was talking about. So I knew that either I could, say, "Hey, I don't know," and then he would get upset, or I could, just play it out and see how it ended and just go down and, bring something random or just wait it out. So in this particular case, I decided I was going to wait it out. So I said, okay. Well, we used to have this greenhouse. It's like a shed. They used to have all the tools, and they kept the lawnmowers and tractors and different cool things in there. So I went down there, had no clue what he wanted, had no idea. I've never been the most mechanically inclined guy in the world. So I looked and said, well, I'm just going to wait it out. So I sat down in the shed and just waited. And I knew eventually he would come looking for me. And after, I don't know how long, 15, 20 minutes maybe, Elmo looked at Frank, my daddy, and he says, "Frank, I don't believe that boy's coming back." And I wasn't, because I was waiting this thing out. And then, of course, he came to get me, and, a few damn it boys and this and that and the other. And, so, but yeah, we used to spend a lot of time down at the pool. I used to love that pool. We also went to the lake a lot. Um, Now, I remember very well. Smith Lake was a popular lake during the summer. I mean, you could fish up there. You could do different things along those lines. You could swim. Smith Lake Park was huge. I remember going to Smith Lake Park. This was back in the day when we were maybe doing some stuff we shouldn't have been doing. Let's just put it that way. Going up to Smith Lake Park, and they used to play horseshoes. And I know a little bit about horseshoes because I am uh, Whispering Pines horseshoe champion from 1990, I think 1990. Yeah. So Whispering Pines horseshoe champion. So we would play some horseshoes up there, and potentially maybe there was, Coors Light involved. Maybe, I don't know. Could have been. Now this county that Smith Lake is in, Coleman County, is a dry county, and that means you're not supposed to have any alcohol up there, or at least it used to be. I don't know. I guess it still is. So the police would come around sometimes, and one day they did. One Sunday, we used to go up there on Sundays at Smith Lake Park. They came around and they discovered that my vehicle, the old 1985 Mustang, blue in color with the music playing in the back, subwoofers, boom, 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 all that good stuff. So I was probably playing, Simple Man, Leonard Skinner, a little bit out there, and I was out in the water, but a lot of the other people were hanging around the car, and there may or may not have been some contraband in the car, or at least near it. So they were going to confiscate this contraband. Well, I was out in the water, so at this particular point, if you've ever had this happen to you, where you're not really sure exactly, what your future holds, you're kind of in danger a little bit. So I'm in the water. I see the police, which back in my day, I mean, I've been in law enforcement myself. I was a member of the law enforcement community, so I respect law enforcement completely, totally, and would not do this today. But back then, when the cops came around, you went the other direction. You didn't hang around to see, So in this particular case, I'm in the water. I'm looking back. This is my car. They're going to do something with, and I decide, well, I'm just going to, go the other way. So I could start to swim across the area to go to the other side of the bank. And I don't know what I was going to do when I got there, but I was like, I'm abandoning all hope. I'm done with this. So nothing happened. They were cool. They did, any contraband that they found, they took. So, there was that. So that was a good thing. That was a lot of fun up at Smith Lake Park. Smith Lake also, you would have these swings or ropes that you could, swing out and then drop in the water. Those are cool. They still have those, I think, in different places. I've seen them. I would say about 10 years ago, I was at the Warrior River and I saw one. And of course, I got out and went up and used it, to relive the old days. A lot of fun there. Now, we used to go fishing too. In fact, my brother and I went fishing in a Smith Lake backwater once, and we caught a bunch of fish. And you know how it is, you catch a bunch of fish and you're just having a great day. I actually hooked a wall hanger, this huge bass that I hooked on a rooster tail, matter of fact. And we got this thing in, and my brother had this fish basket that he put them in, and you can drop it in the water and keep it. So we were gonna, couldn't wait, to show everybody my fish. And of course, as these fish stories go, although this happened, this was true. I was, I was heartbroken when he picked up the fish basket and it was empty because this big fish had got in there with the other fish we'd caught, because we'd been catching crappie all morning, and it busted through the bottom and all the fish escaped. So it is what it is. I also, speaking of Smith Lake, I was the inaugural Smith Lake Backwater Belly Buster champion. That was a big one, Belly Busters. That was a long time ago. Now, East Lake Park was also a fun place to go in the summer on Sunday. Yeah, some of y'all may remember that, going round and round and round, cruising. Now, I will say something that they do in July, right? So July 4th, of course, is is one of my favorite holidays. But another one of my favorite holidays is Christmas. So in July, a lot of times they have these things called Christmas in July. You'll see them. I like to flip around on the television, and there is this guy on QVC. I think his name is David. He does In the Kitchen with David, which is, I don't know why that I can kill time looking at this show. I never buy anything. I think it reminds me of my mother, who used to watch Home Shopping Club a lot when I was growing up, when we got cable and all that, and she watched Home Shopping Club when it's in its infancy, right? Where they had this thing called Tootie, where you could you could electronic, or with your phone keypad, you could buy stuff. It was, yeah. Anyway, so I flip through the channels, and a lot of times they have this Christmas in July specials on QVC. And I think, wow, Christmas. That's a lot of fun, right? They have Christmas in July movies on Lifetime. Don't stay on those very long. My wife likes them. But anyway, they're not my jam. However, Christmas is, and I love Christmas presents. And this got me thinking the other day, you could do, all right, so growing up, some of the Christmas gifts that we used to get in the 70s and 80s were, it's just, the memories just come flooding back when you start thinking about these things, right? So one of you think of the Atari 2600 is one of the things. I remember very well getting one of those. Now, I didn't get the Atari. I actually got the Sears gaming machine. It was the same thing. It was like a knockoff of the Atari 2600. It just didn't. It was Atari versus Sears, because my daddy bought everything at Sears. So anything I got Sears or Radio Shack. Which at Radio Shack you could get. They had these little computer things and little handheld games, the electronic games, which were top notch, like Merlin. Anybody remember Merlin? That one? I don't know if that one was at Radio Shack, but anyway, they had like the football games, baseball games. They literally, these things were, I've told my kids this, the games that we used to entertain ourselves with were really just lights. They were just little LED lights, and the lights would come and you'd press a button and it would do something, right? And then the lights would jump around, and that was it. That was really all it was, is lights on a little handheld thing, and you had these little buttons that would do Anyway, the baseball games, football games were just little lights. They even had a racing game that was just sound and light. That was it. It was the sound was so cool, and it was these little lights that were on there, but that was all it was. That was it, and we were entertained with that. Anyway, Atari, huge. I used to love the. I remember one year I got the ET game for Christmas. Now, if you know anything about gaming history, this is one of those mysterious games that it was so bad. The game was so bad that Atari actually, or the people that made the game, I don't know if it was Atari, but whoever made the game tried to get all the games they had left, and they buried these things in a dump. And they have literally found them since. Somebody had discovered where they had buried these games, and they dug them up. There's an entire documentary on this. But yeah, the ET game was a horrible game. It was terrible. I hated it. I never could figure it out. My ET always died. So you know, but Mario Brothers, I spent so many. If speaking of that's Nintendo, not Atari, but you get my the Super Mario Brothers trying to capture the princess back in the day. That was a lot of fun. Nintendo was another one that was a Christmassy type thing. $6 Million Man action figures. Huge. Big fan of Steve Austin. Steve Austin. So it's so cool to think about these memories. There's so many of them. That so many of these gifts that you could get, and you used to get these lifesaver packs that was in like a book, and different chocolate type things. There were a lot of gifts that we used to get back in the day. I mean, there were some really really cool ones. Stretch Armstrong, right? Remember Stretch Armstrong? I didn't get Stretch Armstrong. I got the Stretch Monster. He was green. He was green. Same deal. I mean, I ended up breaking him, and then you see the stuff that comes out. But I didn't get Stretch Armstrong. I got the green guy. Uh, which was fine. I mean, same thing happened with a big wheel. Everybody got the cool big wheels, and I ended up getting it was called a green machine, which was cool, but it had like these levers instead of a steering wheel. And these levers, it was kind of like a zero turn mower kind of. You just do that anyway. So it kind of is what it is. Those great memories that you had. We also used to travel in the summer. It was a time to go on vacation, right? One of my earliest memories ever was getting knocked over by a wave at Panama City Beach, the Redneck Riviera, and my father coming and picking me up. That is literally the earliest memory that I have. I remember standing near the ocean. The wave hit me, knocked me over, and here comes my father pick me up. Earliest memory, and I have since I love the beach. I am a big fan. Who doesn't love the beach? You grow up going to the Miracle Strip, right? The amusement park down there, Captain Anderson's, all that good stuff. Panama City is like one of those places you remember, right? You go that Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, all these areas that you grow up going to, and then later on, of course, you get to as you're older, you experience it a little bit differently. When you get to be a teenager and you go to Panama City, at least back in the day, we'd load up a cooler with, of course, Coke or water. And we'd walk from wherever we were staying. Like we used to stay at the Miracle Strip Beach Motel. Miracle Strip Beach Motel, we'd stay at the Reef. The Bahama Motel was a good one, $25 a night, way back when. It was a kind of a cross. It wasn't beachside, but it was close enough. Load up a cooler and start walking down the beach, and you'd walk. I mean, it seems like we'd walk for miles to get to, of course, the goal of Spinnaker and La Vila. Those were the spots. Spinnaker and La Vila, a lot of fun down there. You'd hang out either behind on the beach, or you'd, walk in there if you could. Check it out. Kind of cool place. They had a pool at La Vila. They might have one at Spinnaker too. I can't remember. Anyway, it's been a long time, but that was cool. We also my parents were Opryland people, so they went to Opryland a lot. That was a lot of fun going to Opryland, and it was really cool. Six Flags, another choice that you had back in those days, right? Six Flags in the summertime, man. I'm gonna tell you, it was. They used to have these like, was it like these fruit looking things you could drink? Ride the Scream Machine, Mind Bender. Uh, it was that was a lot of fun walking around. Now recently, I went to Six Flags, and I have discovered that I'm not equipped for these roller coasters as much as I used to be. These things will beat you to death. Uh, I literally got beat to death by these things, and I think that maybe my roller coasting days are not as they're not over because I think the ones at Six Flags are just a little bit rougher than like Disney. Because we went to Disney, those roller coasters were a little bit smoother, right? They felt a little bit more like I don't know, like their rails weren't as, you weren't shaky or whatever. So those were cool memories. Summertime is full of them, right? I mean, you think about so many things you've done in the summer, so many memories that revolve around it. I mean, it is a great time of year. I got married in the summertime. Yeah, yeah, June 6th. My wife's birthday is July 22nd, which actually is the day of this podcast that I'm actually doing this one. So happy birthday, Cheryl. Love you. Um, so it's there's so many cool things that happen in the summer. My son was born almost in the summer, close in May. Now my daughter, of course, she's the witchy woman. She was born on Halloween, so she's the oddball out there. So summertime has plenty of memories, and I'm just it's just the tip of the iceberg on some of the really really cool things that you experience in the summertime and things you may remember. So I hope that at least a few of these things um, sparked some nostalgia for you. But that was the point today. A little bit of tribute to the summer, the sweet summertime. In the summertime when the weather is warm, that good stuff. So there you go. And I hope you enjoyed it. And happy summer. Everyone have a fantastic day.